everybody. What's happening? Hold on, let me make sure I don't have any. Oh, I don't have echo tonight. So tonight we have. Do you like to go by? No, it's Didi's Fin Den, but I know your name is Deb. So which one do you prefer?
Well, my new stepdaughter, she could not say my name when I first met her, so we went with Didi. So that's
Okay.
what she calls. But I've been Deb all my life, and it doesn't matter because I hear Didi like 2,000 times a day.
Yeah,
So,
that. But you didn't answer my question. Which one do you like?
well, since I've gone with Didi's Fin Den, I'm okay with that.
Okay, so we'll call you Didi. All right.
That way they'll
Thank,
know the face with the name.
yeah. Thanks so much for coming up. I really appreciate it. I know at first you were a little iffy about it.
Yeah.
Now you've been on streams before, so it's not your first stream, but it's your first stream about you, right?
Yes.
That's fair to say.
Yes.
Because I know you've been up
Yeah.
on a lot of the streams. I've seen you up on Terry's and all those hangout streams and stuff. Even early in the morning when I watch the replay, you're there 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, hanging out with those
That's what I'm
degenerates.
best.
Uh, um, and I always like seeing you up on the streams because we have a lot in common. We're both retired. You have a great sense of humor. A lot of times you roll with the punches and you tell dirty jokes. And that's the way to my heart. You tell me a dirty joke and we're best friends. So
Yeah.
I've never once seen you like get snippy with somebody or get upset at somebody. You've always been very positive, and those are the kind of people that I enjoy being around. So thanks for being you.
Well, thank you. And I like that kind of person too. It makes life easy.
Did you want to show everybody that awesome T-shirt that you're wearing?
Oh, everybody, you can get yours at Amazon and you can have Rico, which on your chest too. But
That's
ladies,
still
you
just
can even sleep in this t-shirt if you choose.
yeah. You told me your husband. Oh, you froze, Deb. You told me your husband thought it was a little weird though if you slept in it. Deb froze a couple. Oh, you're back. You're back. You
I
froze
think we
for a
scared
second. Yeah.
him.
So your husband thought it was a little weird though. You weren't sure about actually sleeping in
Yeah, he was.
it. Oh. My Rico has gotten big. Your head has gotten big. Uh, there we go. It keeps freezing. That's
I
unfortunate.
don't, it
Hopefully
keeps
we'll
telling
get
me my
through.
Wi-Fi is disconnecting. We're going
Yeah,
to have a storm here. That might be what's getting ready to happen.
gotcha. All right. Well, we'll do the best to get through it.
Yeah.
And okay. So everybody that came in, I'm not seeing anybody new. I see all the usual suspects in here. But just in case you're new here, so the whole first half of the chat, Deb and we won't be looking at the chat at all. The whole first part of the stream, we're just going to be talking. We're going to have a conversation. But then the second half, we'll open it up to questions from the chat. So if you've got questions, for Deb, hold off on them. Also, we don't focus on the fish stuff so much, but more instead on what Didi has done in her life. Different jobs she's had and relationships and all that fun stuff. So we really get to know the person instead of the hobbyist, if that makes sense. So yeah. And I said I'm not going to look at the chat, but I saw Geek Boy, so it said nobody knew, just all the same old boring regulars. I don't know about boring, but regulars. You're all you all are definitely fiber fans because you're all very regular. All right. So
The
Deb,
older you get, the more regular you need to be.
yeah, definitely. You need to have that fiber. Um, so Deb, you live in North Carolina?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And have you lived there your entire life or?
Well, I was born in Puxatawny, Pennsylvania,
Oh, okay.
and my parents were from North Carolina, but moved up there for a few years. My dad had a job, and then when I was 5, we moved back, and I've been back in North Carolina ever since.
Okay.
So that's why I sound Southern, very
Yeah.
Southern.
You know what? I do notice you and Ricky. I notice there's a little bit of the same type of accent there. It's not. It's
Yeah.
not Southern like Georgia or Alabama or Mississippi. There's definitely. It's Southern in its own way. But I
Yeah,
have
we,
noticed that.
we don't draw it out, but we
Yeah.
talk fast and Southern.
Gotcha. So it's a little bit of a mix between the northern and southern accent, I think. You know.
I don't know what it's a mix of because I don't hear any northern in it to
Oh,
me.
gotcha. Now, do you actually hear an accent for yourself?
When
You
I
don't
hear
hear an
when I
accent.
hear myself, yes, I do.
Do you really?
Yeah, but when I'm talking, I don't. And then when I see myself on screen, it's like, oh my gosh, do I sound that southern?
See,
And when
I
I'm
don't. I
go
didn't
ahead.
know that. I don't think most people hear an accent in their voice. You know what I mean? I think they think other people have accents, but I don't think
Yes.
most people actually can hear the accent. And maybe I'm wrong, but I
Yeah,
think you're the
I don't
first
hear
person.
it on me talking, but I do hear it when I replay.
Yeah.
And I certainly see it when I'm trying to talk to text because it can't figure out what I'm trying to say. Everything's always wrong.
Ed used to say that too, and there was somebody else who said that too. That they always have problems with the talk to text. It
Hmm.
just doesn't understand at all. So Pennsylvania, you came back when you were 5. You said you came back
Uh-huh.
to. Okay, all right, and you've been there since. You haven't moved to another place for any extended period of time.
No, I've been in Eastern North Carolina. I've moved from county to county, but I've grown up here, went to school here, worked here my whole career. So just a
Gotcha.
few
And
months.
what what's the closest like big city to you?
Raleigh.
Oh, okay. I've never been there, but I have a very good friend who lived close to Raleigh for a long time. He's from here, but he loved it down there and he wanted to stay.
Now,
Um,
Wilmington is about an hour away. It's not as big, but it's got probably more tourists because there's water.
oh, gotcha, gotcha. It's right on the.
Michael Strahan comes down there a lot. Michael Jordan comes this way a lot with his boat, that kind of thing.
Oh, gotcha. Well, yeah, Michael's from there, right? He's from. No, he went to school there. I don't know where he's from, but he went to school there.
Well, his kids are here, where they were at one time. I don't know if they still are.
Gotcha. And maybe that's where he's from too. I honestly don't know that much about Mr. Jordan because I'm not a basketball fan. Um,
Oh, yes, he is North Carolina.
yeah, I knew he
Not
went.
not this way.
Yeah, I knew he went to school there because I remember seeing him in the light, the pale blue uniform. I was gonna say costume.
I met him a long time ago, back before he was the Michael Jordan. I worked with this girl, and her husband was in the Globetrotters, like the little second variant of them. And he came down. He and there was two more that came, and they, of course, she went outside and she said, "Hey, everybody, come and meet my husband, and his friends." And one of them was Michael Jordan. I'm pretty sure that's who it was, but I didn't know, and I didn't watch basketball,
Yeah,
so they were
yeah.
just real tall.
Yep, that's Michael.
Yeah.
So you talked about work. What kind of? Let's start at the beginning. Let's go way back. What was your very very first job that you ever did?
Tobacco. My
Tobacco.
granddaddy, yeah, my granddaddy was a tobacco farmer. And so for summer, all of us kids, we were so little, they would stand cinder blocks up on the ground, and the tobacco would come in and they laid on these benches, and we would have to grab 3 or 4 stalks and hand it to this person behind us, and they would string it on this stick. Then it was later hung up to dry, and went to the market and all that stuff. And then he let me start driving the tractor.
Nice.
So
How
I
old were you
started
then?
driving. I was probably 12, 11,
Yeah,
12.
yeah.
And then at the end, he was having a hard time finding guys to go in the fields. So all of us teenage girls, we said, we'll go. Of course, he said, we can't, y'all can't do it, you're girls. Well, we did his crop. We had one boy that was my 1 year older than me, and the rest of us were girls. And we did his whole farm that year. And it
Nice.
was a blast. It was a blast.
And I bet he never said that to you again. You can't do it. You're a girl.
Well, he probably, he was older,
Yeah.
but hey, it was a hoot. And if you've never been over all day long picking up tobacco in the hot sun, the sand, and sticky, gummy mess, then you haven't really worked. Anything else is easy after that. I can tell you.
And you had
You
kids.
bend over all day long walking those fields, you'll know.
Oh, and speaking of bending over all day long, Deb did tell me that she hasn't been arrested for prostitution yet.
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 Well,
All
if you
right.
get hungry, there's resources. I'm just saying.
Wait a minute. What are we saying here?
If you
Oh,
have to,
you got to do what you got to do.
hey,
Um, so that was your
whatever.
first job. And did you do that? Did you work on the farm then for quite a few years?
When I was 8, we started, of course, and we would buy our school clothes with our monies, and then when I went to high school, I got into typing and accounting and that kind of stuff. And so when I turned 16, my grandfather had quit farming. I turned 16 and I went and got me a job in an office, wearing a dress and air conditioning. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
worked
could
for
see.
a tax office and that was fun.
Nice. And how long did that last? I mean, was that
Well,
something?
that was for summers during high school, but
Oh, gotcha.
what they did, they cleared out, it looked like an office, I mean, a closet. And they put 3 old fashioned typewriters and 3 of us young girls, and 2 of them were from a place called Harper's Island. And they have an English brogue down there. And the first 2 or 3 days, I did not know one word those 2 girls said all day long. Because they not only did they talk fast, but they had that brogue.
Yeah.
And by the end of the summer, instead of saying fish, I would say fish. You sounded just like him, and it took me like 2 or 3 years to break that.
Wow. And it's
Yeah, I
amazing.
would catch myself saying it wrong.
It's not that far away, right? I mean, you're not talking about a long distance. So to have that different dialect in a short
Mhm.
area,
Yeah, they
that's
were
weird.
generations of it, and
Yeah. Well,
so
I guess that's sort of like the Amish, up here. They definitely sound different than the rest of the people that live in the area. There's a different dialect and cadence to how they talk. So
I've never heard an Amish person speak, and living up there, I remember the buggies and everything, and when I go back to visit, the buggy might be in Walmart parking lot, that
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
But I've never heard one talk, so I don't even know.
Well,
They're very quiet.
yeah, and usually they're very, very polite. And like every year we used to go pick our pumpkins at an Amish farm that wasn't too far away. Um, we got our littlest dog from an Amish farm, and they were so interested in. I was an IT guy, so they were very interested in what I did for a living. And I spent like an hour talking about stuff with the guy, and he'd never once used a computer. He obviously knew what they were, and knew all that kind of stuff, but he had no clue about them in any way. Um, they choose to live that life, right?
Mhm.
That's the way they feel is the right way to live. So they've always been really polite. But um, there was a TV show, I think it was called Amish Mafia.
Yes,
Did you ever watch that?
a little bit off and on,
Okay, I
and
think that
you
was.
see a different side.
Yeah, because there is it's weird in some Amish communities there are problems with like meth, and you just wouldn't think that that would be a problem there, but there it definitely is. I guess it really does help them, churn butter all day long.
Well, teenagers are teenagers, and
Yeah,
hormones are hormones.
yeah.
And if you can't contain the beast, you
Well,
know,
that's why they do that. They have that rum springer. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's where when they come of age, they're allowed to leave and go live as the English do, which that's us. We're all English.
uh-huh.
Go live as the English do and just party and do whatever, and there's no judgment, and they get it all out of their system, and then they go back to the community, or they stay out. It's
Depends
they
on how
do,
good it was to them.
yeah, they do lose
Yeah.
a lot of their teenagers, but surprisingly not as many as you would think. So Lefty said I got it right. I'm not looking at chat. Don't look at chat. Stop looking at chat. Lefty, quit talking to me. Um,
Well, I could have lived in the little house on the prairie. I could
yeah,
have lived in those days.
and been happy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Except you wouldn't have been able to work in an office then.
Well, I wouldn't have cared. I would have had my horse. We could have gone fishing.
Wait, you would have had your what? Are we back to the prostitution again?
No, a
Horse.
horse,
Horse,
not a
not.
hoe, a horse.
I thought I said horse.
No,
Sorry.
I'm a horse. I was a horse nut a long time ago too. I've not been a
Yeah.
hoe nut.
And you had them obviously living on the farm and stuff, right? You were around them a lot.
My grandfather didn't have, horses. He had mules and cows
Oh,
when I
okay.
was little, but by the time I got old enough, he had gotten rid of them. But I got a horse for Christmas when I was 12,
Wow.
and unbeknownst to my mother, it was as much as a surprise for her as it was for me, because my daddy knew better than to tell her, because she would have squashed it. But that kept me out of trouble,
Yeah.
because if I did something wrong, it was restriction and couldn't leave the yard. It didn't matter what happened. Couldn't ride that horse. I couldn't do anything but go out there and, take care of him. So I tried not to get in trouble. Of course, my
Yeah.
mouth did get me in trouble with my mom. I was sassy.
I see that. I can see
Yeah.
that. You're still sassy.
But
That's
she
why I
but
like
she
it.
was she was good with this thing too, though.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
you kind of knew when to say when.
Now, how long did you have a horse for, or did you have other horses after that, or was it just the one?
I had it all through high school, and then my daddy left us maybe like my 11th grade or so, and my mother just couldn't keep feeding him. And
Gotcha.
so I had to sell him when I was in my
Oh,
senior year,
oh,
and some little boys down the road got him, and I saw him every day on the school bus.
oh, that's cool.
And he
Still,
disappeared, for a little while, and of course I didn't have a horse for 15 years. But one day, in that 15-year gap, I went down east, which is where Harker's Island and all that is, and just happened to stop in at some horse farm and started talking to this lady, and she says, I have an old horse, blah, 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 blah. And I went out and
oh
I said,
no,
oh, that's King. That's his little
oh,
Mark. And he had to be like 32 years old.
wow.
She says, are you the one that ruined him by letting him eat grass wherever he wanted to? I said, yeah, I'm the one that did it.
What was his name? Kenny?
King.
King. Oh, King.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
That was his
Kenny.
name when I got him. But yeah, he was a good old boy, and we'd load up 3 or 4 deep on him and take him in the river and slide off his neck. And I grew up right on the river too, and he was just a good old boy. We put him in the ditch, his back end, and we'd run up like the Lone Ranger, do the hop,
Yeah.
and he never kicked nobody. He was just a good old horse.
Nice. Yeah, so that must have been cool just to see him like that and know that he was still
Yeah.
doing okay and still doing,
Yeah.
well after all that time.
She
So
actually
just
was showing him English of all things.
she
He was a
what?
show horse. He
Oh,
was a show horse at this point.
I
Yeah.
don't know what showing him English means. What is that? Is it a type
Well,
of?
they have to you have certain gaits and head
Okay.
carriage and propulsion from the back end, and not just all strung out.
Okay,
It's a lot of training
I get it.
and,
I get you.
and fun, and you have to kind of raise up on a certain. When one leg comes up, you're supposed to be up out the saddle and called
Okay.
posting.
Lots of rules.
Yeah, if you want to
Lots of
show.
rules.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. There's quite a few people in the fish fam that have kept horses. I think we gravitate towards other pets, right? We most of us have had pets our entire lives. So
Yeah.
I don't know if a horse is a pet though, more of a companion, I think.
Well, kind of, because he was my buddy,
Yeah.
and one time for a hurricane, Mama wasn't looking, and I was sneaking him in the back of the kitchen door. I was going to take him to my bedroom for the hurricane, and he was taller than my head. He was a tall horse, and I don't know how he was going to get down the hallway, but we were coming in the door, and she said, "What do you think you're doing?" I said, "I'm bringing him in because there was a storm." She said, "No, you're not," and she wouldn't let me, because I had dogs. I had, we had cats, and I had some fish tanks. And I don't know how any fish ever lived that I ever had all those little years.
Yeah.
And probably the only saving grace at all, we were on well water.
Gotcha.
So probably if it hadn't been for that, none of them would ever have lasted a day.
Yeah. Because you didn't know, right? There was no way
No.
to find out how to raise them. You didn't have this wonderful tool we have today.
Yeah, and we had a little mom and pop that had it was probably at one time a garage. They had built a little fish store in their garage at their house, and I would go spend $3 a weekend or something and buy a fish, and they would help me pick out a pregnant one so I would have babies. They were just awesome people.
Yeah.
I couldn't go past their stores once I got my license without stopping to get a fish.
Nice. So back to the work stuff. What did you do after you got out of school? Did you decide to go to college, or did you go right into the workforce, or what did you do there?
Well, all my life it was destined for me to go to college because I
Oh,
was an A student, all that stuff. And then when my dad did what he did, that
yeah,
just squashed everything. And
gotcha.
when we didn't know about the resources out there.
Yeah,
So I tried to go to community college, but it was hard finding a part-time job for the hours.
gotcha.
And I managed a quarter or two, and then I just couldn't, with what little money I had saved up, and a little bit of babysitting money and that kind of stuff, it dried up, and so I had to drop out. And then probably about a year out of high school, I met my first husband, and we lived together for a year or two, and finally got married, and we were married for 20 years. And I raised two of his children. And after they left home, I left home. So
You said his children.
yeah, he had custody of two children when I
Okay,
met him,
okay,
and I made the little girl's second birthday cake and the little boy's fifth birthday cake.
okay.
Their mama had kind of abandoned them.
Ah, and you knew
So
how that felt.
yeah, so so the little girl never. She was only 6 months when her mama left her. So when the mother came back in the picture, they had to be told that this was your mother. They didn't know
Yeah.
it.
You
So
know, I don't know how any parent can do that, but especially a mom. It's different for moms. I mean, any parent, but especially a mom. I don't know how a mom could ever abandon their kids. I just don't get it.
I don't either. I can't get it.
Yeah.
So, but I
Funny.
raised them. They were. It was a lot of work
You
raising
know,
other people's children.
I bet. Yeah. But at least they were young enough. I mean, they weren't teenagers. That would have, I think that's a lot harder. Well, at least when they're two, they get used to you very quickly and you become mom very quickly.
Oh, no, 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 no. We're missing a piece of this story.
Oh boy. Okay. Start that with
My husband's mother was so jealous
Oh,
because when I met him, he was still living at home with mama because she had him convinced, that you can't go anywhere and I'll keep the kids. And she was kind of like living off of him.
yeah.
And so when I met him, we bought our own place. And now, the income isn't coming in. So she had to get a job. And so, I was the devil for that. Not the fact that I was taking, trying to make a life, but so every day for 7 years, this woman tried to break us up every single day. And then the mother came back in the picture, and it was like, I'm coming to get my GD children on Saturday, have them ready. And then she wouldn't show, and they would cry,
Oh,
for 4 or 5 hours. And so it was that. And, it's just so many other people in the mix. You're not their mother. You're not their mother. You're not their mother. It was like, I'm the one giving them a bath,
yeah.
helping them with homework, putting clothes on their backs, feeding them, but, that's what I heard all the time. And then 7 years after all that, my mother-in-law had a stroke. And guess where she had to come stay?
Oh, this
Because
is
everybody got tired of her, because she was hard to deal with.
yeah. Was
So,
she was always hard to deal with, or did the stroke make her hard to deal
no,
with?
she was always harder to
Okay.
deal with. She would threaten to kill herself if you tried to take the children where, she couldn't have a little control, or, she was all the time threatening to kill herself.
Jesus.
So running
Wow.
out of food, it's just a constant, you always had to do something.
Yeah.
So, um,
Man.
and I didn't fight back then. I ran the other way. I didn't know how to fight back. I was always quiet. And of course, as you see, it was hard to get me to come up here. And then one
Yeah, but
day,
you're not quiet. You're not quiet. When you're in the streams and stuff, you're not. So you definitely got over that.
but I grew up that way. So, I was that way till I was probably in my 30s.
Gotcha.
And then one day, a friend of mine who worked with her said, I don't know how to tell you this, but I feel like I need to, but I know it's going to cause problems. I said, well, just tell me. And you remember that movie, Sybil?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't
she
remember
was
too much. Sissy Spacek, right?
yeah, and Sally Field, and she was over wherever they were working, saying that if she ever caught me doing that to the daughter, she would do that. And and that's when I lost it. It's like these children have never had anything happen to them ever anywhere. And I told my husband that day, I said, You need to call her and tell her don't come in my driveway, don't do nothing, because I'm gonna bust the windshield out of whatever she's driving, and I'm gonna keep a bat by the door. And from then on, I learned to speak a little bit.
Yeah.
You know.
You had enough. They pushed you to the
Yeah.
brink, and you had enough.
That was too far. I mean, it's okay if you don't like me, but that was kind of, and she was trying to say it like it was happening.
Yeah.
And that was the part that's like, you know, this was just too much.
And especially saying it to other people after everything that you had done.
Yeah, and she knew that we were friends, so she knew it would get back eventually, but you know, it would be fun for a little while. Yeah. It was not a very good day. I had to call my husband home from work. Like, you need to get home right now before I go there. And you better work it out somehow, because I'm on a rampage.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you got
I think that's the baddest I've ever been.
Yeah. Ever, still to this day?
Probably.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that hurts.
Oh yeah, I bet. Especially again, you're raising the kids that aren't yours, and I'm sure you love them. That you can't help it. You know, they're, and you know, just and then have somebody just saying that kind of stuff that has no business, and you know what they're trying to do. Like you said, she was trying to break you guys up and trying to spread rumors about you as a person. You know, it's just pure friggin' evil. It's just pure evil. That's all it is.
I just wish I'd have gotten gumption in the very beginning. You know?
Yeah. Yeah,
would have been a whole lot nicer, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah,
or I
maybe
might not have made it 20 years. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe if you had put her in her place way back when. But you're right. Maybe your husband would have been upset. Now, do those kids? Do they call you mom still? Do you see those kids still, or you said you guys got divorced? So did you? Are they sort of, were they, because they were adults? So were they sort of out of your life at that point?
Well, the daughter and I had parted ways many years before. Her mama was too much of an influence.
Okay.
And, you know, little kids always want their mama, no matter how sorry they are, they want their mamas.
Yeah.
And I understand that. And so she would run away and I'd go find her, and she'd run away and I'd go find her. We'd have to go pick her up in the jail because they'd found her, you know, and it was just constant. And she got married, and I told my husband she was 16 and this Marine wanted to marry her. And I said, look, if you don't sign them papers, I'll kill you before nighttime.
Wow.
I said, if you don't sign them, you will die before nighttime. I'm not going to be responsible for her anymore. I was tired of the law calling us. So I don't really have a relationship with her. I don't hate her, but I don't have a relationship. But the boy, he still calls me mama, and he calls me every once in a while. And every once in a while we see each other.
Yeah.
He still lives with his dad. So once I left, I left. I'm done. When I'm finished, I'm done. You know, he tried to send me a Facebook friend request, and it's like, really? No, I don't want to be your friend. Yeah, I don't want to be your friend. You know, if I had to leave, move everything that I had to move an hour away to get away from him and lose. Actually, I lost the family because, you know, they were my family, and I had to stay away from them for a while too, while he learned how to get himself together.
Gotcha.
And he got a little aggressive, and you know, then he met somebody and got married. He's happy, and that's good. You know, he's found somebody that's happy with him. So
yeah, and then he'll leave you alone.
Yeah, after he met her, like the first weekend we separated, and then they started. Yeah, he
met her
away.
The first weekend you separated?
Yeah, he said, well, I'll leave and go to my friend's house while you pack, because he knew it wouldn't go well with us in the same house. So I said, okay. And it was where he went, it was the wife's sister.
Jesus.
So I know he met her that weekend.
Yeah.
You know, and the wife's sister, I mean, his best friend, and the lady that he stayed with, they were my best friends too, you know, and I knew the sister and all that, but it just, you know, it just happened, and it's okay. I'm okay, you know.
Yeah.
So
that was your first husband, though. You said that specifically. So you must have gotten married again then.
Yeah, I just got married 2 years ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
well, congratulations.
I was out there scooter pooting for 15 years or so.
Scooter Putin. Scooter Putin?
Well,
That's
whatever you want to call it.
is that
I was out
is
there.
that a phrase you guys use? Scooter Putin?
I don't even know what they call it anymore. So,
Because I'm using that from now on. Scooter
uh,
Putin.
well, that's a nice, probably way. But I was single,
But
40 years old, single on my own,
it's very
living in a
descriptive
new
though.
town. And
Yeah.
I was going to the clubs dancing. I love to dance, and I used to. And I met some people that owned some nightclubs. And so they hired me in, like, come work for us. I was making extra money, which helped because I'd bought a house on my own. And so, I was always with them. And then I started, hey, it's time for me to start dating, and I did. So I call it Scooter Putin. I don't know what else it would be.
Yeah. And I just looked at the chat. Lefty said he knows it, and Lefty's like in his 20s. So I've never heard Scooter Putin in my life. And I'm going to use it, though, because it's very, very descriptive. It's very descriptive. It's perfect for a female who's out, running the streets, so to speak.
Yeah, you might not be down and dirty, but you're out there looking for love,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So,
Very often. Because
yeah.
I'm thinking Scooter Putin means that it's I mean, it's not every night, but it's more than it's often. You're out there looking for it. Often.
Well, every time I wasn't working, if it was a weekend, I was clubbing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice. That sounds like a fun time in your life, though. I mean, it's always good to settle down after stuff like that. But it sounds like, I was a lot younger, and I had a time I got divorced as well, and I lived with a band. And there was a lot of Scooter Putin around.
Imagine.
And it was a very fun time in my life. But I met my wife at that same period, and that was we've been together for about 35 years now. So, Scooter Putin.
Yeah, because I basically moved out of my mom's house into his house. I'm finally living by myself at 40 for the first time in my life ever.
Yeah. So you got a little crazy.
Yeah, I was an independent woman, man.
Yeah,
I pay my own bills.
Good for you. That's the way it should be. You should be,
Yeah.
and nobody should ever think anything bad about that. Everybody needs some Scooter Putin in their life. At some point in their life, everybody should Scooter Putin.
And most people do it. Most people do it before they get married. They get it out of the system first, but not me.
Yeah, I think a lot of us make that mistake and get married too young, and you have to go through those types of things. Again, I did the same exact thing. Got married too young, and definitely to the wrong person. And I learned my lesson. The second time I did it right. Like I said, we've been together 35 years, married for 30. So,
and that's just it. You learn from the first one. Most of us try to.
Yeah.
And now, as far as I know, I've landed the one that I needed to land. I feel like I was put here in this direction, anyways.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's great. So 2 years ago, what's his name?
Tony.
Tony? That's a great name. That's my son's name.
I met him when I moved from my first husband. When I separated, I had to drive an hour back to work each way.
Oh, gotcha. Because you
and he would like be on the highway where I was going to be, and I might have to run 100 miles an hour to get away from it, that kind of stuff.
Jesus.
And so I sought employment another hour in the other direction to a different prison, and I was working for corrections, and so I got a job in Pender County, which is 2 hours away, and that's where I met my now husband. He was not in prison.
I was going to ask. I was asking. that was my next question. It was queued up.
It was probably 6 or 7 years later when we got married, after I met him. So.
And how long after you met him until you started dating, or did you really date much?
I'm trying to remember this. We worked on different shifts, even though I might have passed him. So I knew him, even though I didn't know him, probably 3 years. We dated a little bit off and on, and the ex kept, I'm the girlfriend. It's like, well, why is he with me? And so we had that going on for a while, and she had a baby at the end of their relationship, that a surprise baby for him. Like she was 3 months pregnant. He was done with the relationship, but now I'm pregnant, so that's why I'm now raising a 10-year-old. So I got another baby. So,
Wow.
because I told him then, I said, I can compete with a woman, but I can't compete with a child.
Yeah.
And I won't take, because she was born at 24 weeks. She was sick, in the hospital all the time, more of her life than not. And so it's like, I can't compete with a child, and I won't. And so I went on my own way trying to find, somebody different. And I never could find anybody to take the place.
Gotcha.
I would cry to my cousin, but it's not Tony.
So you went back to him later on.
Yeah, they finally broke up. Like, we're done, and they're just like, hey, this is how it is. There ain't gonna be if there's any sneaky peeky around. If I can't come to your house, you can't come to mine, whatever. Yeah, and it was over.
Gotcha.
So I didn't want to get caught up in that, because that was a surprise for me the first time.
And your daughter, his daughter, lives with you guys full time.
Yes, her mama died 5 years ago from cancer.
Oh, okay.
So since he's had her basically with us for like 6.5 years. Because we lived together for a year and a half, or maybe close to 2, before we finally got married. I don't know. It's all running together. It moved on fast. The older you get, the faster it is.
It does. Yep.
And so she doesn't really remember her mama.
Yeah.
So, and the funny thing is, we had the same first name, and I thought, oh Lord, if she calls me mama in front of her, or if whatever, it would have been like World War III, and it didn't ever happen, thank God. But yeah, she was the kid would always come to me if we were at gatherings instead of her.
Huh.
And she's like, this is my child, right? I was like, why is she coming to me for a hot dog, to fix her a plate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she knew you were going to take care of her. She already knew that.
Yeah. And she liked being around me. So, it's probably hard for a mama.
It's got to be. I can't even imagine.
And she was like 40 having this baby anyway. So, so I guess it's another woman coming in, taking the child now. She got your boyfriend, now she's got your child too.
Yeah.
So
that's got to be a little difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
So the baby's grandma is like my mother-in-law.
And do you get along with her though? She's okay. She's not trying to break you up. you didn't fall back into that.
No, I don't have a problem now. Like, if you step on me, you see all these teeth? They're attached. They will bite you. They sink in. I don't mind using what I got to use if I have to. I've been pushed around a lot in my life. It won't happen anymore.
Yeah, you had enough. That's awesome. Yeah. That's good. Because again, I said that before, but people need to, you can stick up for yourself without being overbearing and, a jackass. You can still stick up for yourself. And some people just never learn to do it, or learn to do it in a really bad situation when it's too late, or they get pushed to the wall before they start doing it. Well, back to the work stuff. How did you fall into the corrections?
Well, my family had, well, let me go back. After high school and all that good stuff, and then I went into the real workforce, 40-hour week thing. I got a job at a shirt factory, an hour away from where I lived. Everything's an hour away, down east. And I actually was sewing collars on shirts. And I loved it because I was quick. And nobody else on the line that had been there for years could make production. And within a month, I'm making production. So to encourage everybody else, they paid me double.
Wow.
What I would make. So, I was working hard to write that in, because they said, we're only going to do it so many weeks. And then, but anyways, I did that for about a year or so. And then they had a little test for office clerical work in the home office, which was like a mile away from where I was living.
Oh, nice.
And So I took the test, and they came down, they interviewed me, and they hired me as a receptionist. And one of those PABX systems, which,
Gotcha.
I was like, what was her name on Laugh-In?
Lily Tomlin.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't
That's
remember
what
what her name on the
I
show
thought
was.
that's what I was going to look like, with the headset there, but it wasn't. But I took it, and so I was working for Wrangler, and uh, well, it was a little subsidiary of Wrangler, but that's who we made the shirts for. But I worked in there for about a year or so, and then they came to me and said, we have an opening in payroll. Well, I had done accounting in high school and won an award for the school and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, do you want the job? I was like, yeah. So I moved into accounting. Well, about 2 years maybe later, they started going bankrupt, and they started cutting down staff. So they said, we don't need all you people in accounting. We're going to put you into HR and the plant manager's the executive secretary position. And so they moved me there, which I liked that. And at first I was apprehensive about having to talk to new people, because they were still hiring even though they were cutting back. But, after you do it in a month or so, you're like, oh, yeah, I learned how to do the interview, and got through that. And then, they just kept letting go of more and more staff. And pretty soon I'm doing the payroll. I'm doing his stuff. I'm doing all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm having to be receptionist because they had to let her go. And I'm putting in 80 hours a week for
Jesus.
6 months. And I asked the plant manager, I said, look, can you get me some help? Y'all got 6 girls down there for like 80 employees. I've got 200 some employees plus all this other stuff. And they're like, oh, no, they're really busy. And, I said, can't get somebody part-time? No, we can't do it. So I went, and I left one day with a migraine headache. And lo and behold, I stopped at Connor Mobile Homes, which made mobile homes, a manufacturing plant. And I went in and got an application and talked to somebody. I don't even know who I talked to, what I said, or whatever. But they called me on Monday to see if I could start work. I don't know what I said to these people. So I said, look, I got to give them a notice, even though they were doing me dirty.
Yeah.
I got to give them a notice. And they said, well, we can't do 2 weeks. Can you do it in 1 week? I said, okay, I'll take it. And so I went in to tell my plant manager, I said, I have some news. I hate to tell you. Oh, I got news. Let me tell you mine first. We're going to hire somebody for 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Said, well, I can't turn it down because, we're shutting down. And this job is right where I live, and in an office, it wasn't in the plant. It was in an office. And so I did a little week.
Same kind of job too, like HR or payroll or something?
No, it was what we did. The sales lots called us and spec'd out homes.
Oh, okay.
Mobile homes. And then we would price them up and send them to the manufacturing company to build them.
Okay.
And so, you were dealing on the phone with people again, but, you were in an office situation. And so I took that job, and my first husband went back to pick up my last check, and there were 6 people doing my job. So that just tickled the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Because they had engineers, the head engineer, he was in there, and the plant manager, they were all in there trying to do what I did on myself. And I had 2 children at the same time and horses. So, I was working around the clock. Sometimes
they realized it finally.
I get up at 3:00 in the morning and start doing timesheets. Where I couldn't finish them, like at 11 o'clock, I would just run out of gas.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah. I was making good money, but, if you can't ever spend it,
yeah,
it's
not living.
not worth it.
Yeah, you're not living.
All you're doing is struggling, and you're getting migraines from being stressed out all the time. So
yeah,
that migraine worked for me. I don't know what I said, but it must have been good.
You were all loopy, but my wife is going through that right now. She's sort of the same type of things happening to her. She works front office at a doctor's office, where my daughter works as well. But
Wow.
It's the same kind of thing. She's really having a rough time lately with stuff. She's also gone back to school to be an accountant. So
okay.
just same kind of things you did. But she's up there. We're not spring chickens anymore. So I've always said that I'm just incredibly proud of her for going back to school so late in life to learn a new skill. That's very cool that she hasn't stopped learning even though we're you know
Yeah, I
old.
mean, I went back in my late 30s and I felt like a grandma compared to everybody in there. And there was only
Yeah,
two of us that probably paid our own way through school. Everybody else was on these little grants and everything. But, you know, I was a dinosaur, but, I was still getting a 4.0, working a full time job
yeah.
and going to college at night, a full schedule too. So, had to even go on Saturdays. But after the mobile home business kind of went bad, sales lots were finagling VA and FHA loans so they could sell and make that little $200 or whatever for commissions. And somehow or another, the rigging of the paperwork got back to VA, FHA, or somebody, and they pulled all the financing, which
Uh,
he had all these sales lots in so many states, military bases mostly. And, the company just couldn't handle it. So they went bankrupt. I was there 4 years, and greedy salespeople caused that job and cost him his company too. And from there, my family had a seafood business where we bought clams from the clammers that went out, the fishermen. And then
Clamors.
we graded them and bagged them and everything, and we hauled them up north and sold them to the markets up north. And I worked with them a couple of years in between, and then red tide hit.
Wow.
And a lot of clammers, this was in the 80s now, they could go out and make $200 on a low tide, and come in. But after red tide, you might work 8 or 10 hours and make $80.
Oh,
And so, the money wasn't coming in. And so since I had, office skills, me and my younger brother, we both went out and got public jobs again. And the other three could stay in the business. It could hold three of us.
gotcha.
And so that's where I landed in the prison, which was like a mile away from where I was living. Never dreamed. I rode by it every day going to school. Never dreamed I'd ever work in a prison. I
Yeah.
didn't know they had secretaries, and so I hired in as a receptionist again. And then within a year, I was promoted. I was doing fiscal, their trust funds, personnel, and clerical for case managers. I did
Gotcha.
all. Back then, I was the only one with a computer, so I had to do all their typing. They would handwrite it, and I would type it up every
What
day.
what year was that roughly?
I started in '91,
Oh, okay.
and then in probably about halfway through my 30-year career, I decided I wanted some action. And I wanted to get out from behind a desk and become a correction officer so I could transfer and go anywhere I wanted to go. Because at one point, I had even promoted up to the superintendent secretary, which you can't go from one place to another, and find another job just like that one, because people have
Yeah.
been their backups and they get those jobs when they leave, and you have to start back at the receptionist desk again.
Yeah.
So I said, I'll just become a correction officer and I can move wherever I want to move. And so I did, and I worked there. I stayed there long enough to get we had to take a sergeant's exam after 2 years if you wanted to promote. And I loved it. Everybody thought, oh, she's not going to make it. She's a girl. She's a secretary.
Yeah.
And it is a male prison. And no, I held my own. And when a couple of them would fight, we were expected to go in. You were not supposed to wait for help to arrive. You were supposed to have them separated, if you could, And yeah, I've done that too. And once I got my results back from my sergeant exam, I went and applied to Pender, which was a couple counties away, and just so happened that I knew the superintendent from going to the secretary. With my superintendent, I would do the meeting minutes. And he said, yeah, girl, fill out that application, turn it in, blah, blah, blah. And so within less than a month, I'm sitting down there with a job. I went from they're like, gosh, that happened fast. But he had a lot of clout with the state. And his prison was short people, so he like, hey, I need her, so I
Yeah.
went down there, and uh, so I started in 2005, got certified and all that. So I've been a correctional officer since 2005, and I've been retired 3 years. But I had
Nice.
enough sick leave and stuff on the books. So I got credit for 30. I only had to work like 28.
Nice.
So it
Yeah,
was great.
3 years. That's about me too. I retired right about the same time. It was right about 3 years ago.
Well, actually, I've been retired too, but I was out for 3. I took 1 year sick leave,
Gotcha.
and I had 5 different surgeries. Everything was broken. You know what I mean? So I fixed all my little feet stuff and all this stuff on their dime, and I got paid full salary while I was
Yeah,
getting it done. I said, why
nice.
should I do it when I retire?
Yeah, let them take care of
I'm
it.
still earning time while I'm spending time.
Now,
So I
is
did.
there any for-profit prisons in North Carolina, or are they all state or federal prisons?
The only one that I can remember that was one, they started out that way. Within 2 years, the state had to take them over. They
Gotcha,
can't manage. They can't manage them. I don't know if anybody's tried it since.
gotcha.
It's
Because
it's,
I
it's
know
a lot.
some states, most of the I know like Arizona has a lot of profit prisons, and there's just so many of them, and it's something I think it's disgusting to be honest. But
Well, I don't know how they manage it because now this last prison that I worked at was a medium custody, and we had a whole dorm of sickly inmates, with lifetime diseases and a lot of wheelchairs and amputees, and so they require an orderly and a lot of medical treatment. That means having to be put in a car and taken somewhere, and you got to pay that price out there. It's not
yeah,
free. It's
yeah,
not like you go see the prison nurse and get a Band-Aid. Um, so I imagine some inmates' medical care could be $300,000 in 1 year, depending on what was wrong with them.
yeah.
Because if it's diagnosed, and they got to be treated, so if something's really bad with you, go do something, go to prison. That's okay. You might not get to see the doctor you want, but you will get to see a doctor.
Nice. That's pretty good, man. That you gave us a good rundown there of all the different stuff, and you've led a pretty interesting life with all the different things you've done and places you've lived. Well, I guess not places you lived. It's all been the same area. But have you ever wanted to move out of the state? Have you always? Does it always felt like home? You probably right after you got divorced, you probably were thinking maybe moving far away, right? But has North Carolina always just been the place that you've wanted to be?
Well, I came from a very large family. There was 8 siblings on my daddy's side, 8 siblings on my mama's side.
Mm,
And so I had like 500 cousins and,
yeah,
double cousins and, cousins 3 times, 4 times over. So that's always been home. So you didn't do anything where I grew up and get by with it because somebody was going to beat your butt or send you home and call your mama before you could get there. One of the
yeah,
two.
yeah.
Because, you were part of the family. And I never really wanted to move away. Just,
Okay,
well, I grew up on the water, and I
yeah.
think it's hard to leave the water once you've grown up on the water.
Well, I didn't grow up on the water, but I live on it now, and yeah, I've said that too. We've been, well, we've only lived here in this house for about 15 years now. Yeah, about 15 years, and it's right on the water, and I don't ever want to go anywhere else. Even though we have horrendous winters, I still absolutely love it. And
Yeah, I went back to Pennsylvania when I was like in my 30s, and the school bus came by with a plow on the front of it. Down
yeah,
here, if it's going to have a flurry, we shut down and batten up and everything.
yeah, yeah,
Everybody goes buys bread and milk, and
yep, yep,
and it's like kids are going to have to go out there and stand on the side of the road and wait for a school bus. Yeah, and it's
yeah.
like, man, I don't want to be cold. I don't like being cold.
Gotcha.
I don't like being so hot either.
Yeah,
Menopause changed the game for me. But hey, I don't want to be cold. I
gotcha.
can't jump in the cold shower. I
Yeah.
can't get warm if I'm outside and it's cold.
See, I'm just the opposite. I do like the cold, and I think you can layer up enough clothes, but you can't. You can only take so much off. You know what I mean? When it's hot, you can't really. you can't do enough to cool down, but when you're cold, you can just keep putting layers on, and at some
Yeah, but
point,
then you can't move. You're like,
that's okay. You're warm.
Ralph, you know.
Yeah,
Now back before menopause days, I could take the cold a little better
yeah,
because I was outside and I was used to it with horses. And I can remember going in the barn and taking a nap on the hay pile in the wintertime.
yeah,
And it felt good to do that, you know. But also, you know, like you said, you're bundled up, you know, with a couple layers of long johns and whatnot, and you can manage.
yeah.
But I wouldn't want to live like that every day.
Gotcha. And you guys, you sort of have the best of both worlds there. You don't get super, super hot. I mean, you get your hot times, but you don't get super cold either. But you still get to enjoy the different seasons. Like a lot of places, like, you know, I lived in Arizona for a long time. There's really not much of a change of season. I mean, there is, but you don't really get a fall. You get a little bit of winter. You know, it's like a couple of weeks. It's just when you live in places that have that for distinct seasons, it's refreshing. You're always looking forward to the next season. You know, I'm tired of summer, now the fall's here. You know, so you guys, you're in a good spot that way. You've got a little bit of everything. You know, it's
Well, very little fall. I mean, it seems to go straight from summer to 2 days of fall, and then you land in the winter. Same thing with spring. You
yeah,
know, I mean, by the time you start planting and everything, it's hot. You know, we
gotcha.
had some 100-degree days in May.
Yeah,
I had some fish out in a pond when there's 100-gallon ponds,
yeah,
and it went up to 100 degrees. And it
wow,
wasn't the end of May, and so I had to cover them up and shade them and all this kind of stuff because I was scared it was going to cook them. I didn't
yeah.
know, you know, that the depths of the water would change the temperatures for them. But yeah, that was a surprise, as I wasn't expecting that till like July.
Gotcha.
So
And that's not common though. Like you said, you weren't expecting that. That's not. It's getting
but
more common probably, but
yes, it is. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
because you had that, and then right back in June, it was a few more days. It was real close, you know,
yeah.
and it used to be nice until like August. August was always the rough month growing up. Because
Gotcha.
it's like, woo, we hated being in that back patch in August because you knew
Yeah,
you were going to die.
the dog days, the humidity and the heat,
Uh-huh.
and yeah.
Yep.
Um, so we've actually gone over. We're already an hour along, and I haven't opened up to the chat. Are you? Do you need to get going? Do you have time?
I'm good. I'm good. I
Okay.
can't see chat though because
Yeah, I'll look through for you, and uh, I think I covered most of the stuff I wanted to talk about. So again, for people that I haven't looked at the chat at all. So people that came in and said hi and everything, that's it's by design. We don't look at the chat, the whole first part of it, because it's distracting when you're trying to ask questions and have a conversation. So, but now is the time. If you've got questions for myself or for Didi, um, ask them now. Now's a good time. And hi to everybody that came in. I appreciate it. Let's see. There's
Hi.
59 people in right now. So if you brought
Wow.
in 59 people, Didi. Very cool.
Whoa, whoa.
Very cool. So I'm going to scroll
Wow.
back up.
You know who it is. It's all about you, Rico. We know it.
Oh, nope, nope. It is not. It is never about me. Um, let's see. So let's start out here and see. Oh, I didn't ask you today, now that you're retired and stuff, other than fish keeping, do you have any other like major hobbies? Is there anything else that you're into these days?
No, because with this child, she has to do homeschool. And since she's has the issues that she has, I have to do homeschool. Because if I leave, she quits, you know, that kind of thing. So the fish really came about during the pandemic for me. We had a couple 10-gallon tanks. She had some bettas. And then January, well, I started watching KG Tropicals on Thanksgiving Day last year. And from there, it's like, oh, look at those pretty tanks. Oh. And I didn't think I thought rich people were the only people that could have a 55-gallon tank, you know. Everybody was 10 gallons. And so I've got a 55-gallon at that, Petco half deal, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like biggest thing I'd ever seen in my life, you know. Now I can have 300 fish in that thing. But that didn't work out too well. But
Yeah.
that started in January of this year. And that's where I go when I can't take it anymore because I cry a lot with this child because, look, I'm in my 60s. She's 10. How
Yeah.
long have I got to take care of her? And she didn't even know 5 was more than 4 going into 4th grade.
Oh.
So, I've had to work really hard. It's like, this is an opportunity. If she's ever going to learn, this is the year. So we did schooling like 12 to 14 hours a day last year because of tying up with the teacher. And then I was having to reteach the lessons over and over and over again because she can't retain very well. It's getting better as she's getting older, but it's very, very hard. And like for kids like her, the teachers don't stand a chance. So if you're a teacher, I don't know how you do it, but they say, okay, we're going to do these 4 problems. I only want to do 1. And so they say, okay, honey, we'll just do 1. But like me, I'm like, you're going to get over here and you're going to do all 4 of these. and we're going to do them. If it takes us 2 hours, we're going to do those 4 problems,
Yeah.
But that's what it took. But it's like, just letting her go to public school, she will never learn because they dictate what they want to learn to these teachers. And so we're having to keep her home again this year because of COVID. And I did lose a friend today from COVID.
Today? Oh.
Yeah, I just found out at 4 o'clock. So,
wow, that's rough. You didn't have to do this, Deb.
But that's okay. But, the fish tanks is where I go stick my hand in the water, and it's kind of like being home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it grounds you back.
Yeah.
And my husband says, you said you keep your hands in the tanks too much. I said, I can't help it. I don't put soap this far down, so if I stick my hand in, I don't have no soap on my arm. Because I'm always adjusting a plant, moving a rock or something. But it keeps me sane because homeschooling a kid that does not want to learn, I felt like Annie Sullivan with Helen Keller.
Yeah.
Okay. And at times I even wondered, am I the one that should be doing this? Can I hold up to it?
Yeah.
And 50 pounds later, we got a principal's list report card. So it only cost me 50 pounds and a lot of tears. But the fish tanks is all I've got for my own little space. And my husband gave me his man cave so I can come in here this year and be able to shut a door and have a space to myself.
Nice. Good.
Because
good.
This little kind of kid, when you get upset with them, they want to cling even more.
Yeah.
You can't get away. And
you
and
said
now I have
she's 10?
13 tanks. Yeah, she's 10.
10, yeah.
And if she lets me down, she gets wound up somehow. If she's trying to be hard to get along with, she gets wound. Everything makes her gets wound up, and it's just a battle. And she's not even of the spectrum that a lot of kids are. I don't know how their mamas do it either because I don't know that I could. Well, most kids aren't being raised by somebody that's had them that's this old. That's why old people can't have children anymore.
Yeah.
We can't handle it. But, I'm a fighter.
Well, you sounds like you're handling it. I mean, it sounds like
probably got 18 more years before I run off. When she runs off, I might run off. Who knows? I hope not. But if I take on a project, I try to stick with it. So, if I don't do it, she won't get it.
Yeah.
And in today's times, what will happen to that baby?
Yeah.
So, I got to do what I got to do so nobody can take advantage of her when nobody's here to fight for her.
Yeah.
So.
Well, she's lucky to have you. She's lucky to have you.
Lucky to have her too. She was a blessing to me too. Even though it's hard work, I couldn't imagine not having her in this house every single day.
I get it.
But we're joined at the hip now. It's like me and her are married.
Well, shifting gears a little bit, Dolbeck is asking, is there something from correctional work that you likes that you did not expect to like? Something that was unexpected that you really enjoyed that you just didn't think about or sort of was a surprise for you?
Well, of course, being a secretary is different than when I went into the custody side. The custody side, I have never laughed so much in all my life. Inmates are funny. Some of them are buttholes, but the ones that are funny, they will keep you laughing all the time over something they say. And that's probably where I learned to get a slick mouth back, because you always have to have a one-liner as a female. You always have to shut down the situation. But
yeah.
They always tell you such colorful stories, and you watch behaviors, and it's like, you see prison movies, and it's always down and it's a very, downer job, but you laugh more than you think you do. So that was a surprise.
Okay, that's a cool one too, knowing that,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I imagine, I've only spent a night on a couple occasions in jail, and that was jail, that wasn't prison,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I can't even imagine how depressing it has to be for the people that are in there. I mean, yeah,
I would not have been a good inmate either, so
it,
I know I couldn't have
no,
made
I
it.
wouldn't have made it. Um, let's see, and hi to everybody that came in again. I apologize that we don't say hi. Knight Rider wants to know what percentage of prisoners keep fish. Could they even have anything like that?
No.
Yeah, I didn't
Um,
think so.
Now we did it. This last prison I worked at, they had a leash on life program where this adoption agency set up a program with the prison there, and they would bring 5 or 6 dogs, and 5 or 6 inmates were picked due to behavior and all that kind of stuff, and they would get to train these dogs for these shelter for these adoption agencies, and some of them are mutts, and most of them are mutts, but they spent like 6 8 weeks with these inmates, and they'd learn to sit, to stay, to heel, and all that kind of stuff, and that was like one of the best jobs out there. And it was very rewarding because the dogs would get adopted, and the new owner would come and meet the dog, and then they just, oh yeah, we want this one. And then when they graduated from their little basic obedience class, they could come and they had an actual little cap and gown. The dogs wore cap and gowns. And,
Nice.
some of them learned to ride skateboards. It
Wow.
was
Yeah.
really neat, and it made the men feel really good about themselves.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, they did crimes and all that, but you can't beat somebody down forever.
No.
Some of
They
them might need to be, if they keep doing it over and over again. But
Yeah.
if there's good people in prison, don't get me
Sure.
wrong.
Sure.
And if you can turn somebody around, hey, we've got people that we know that were in prison, and every time I see them now, I hug them. It's like they're different here than what they were in there. And
Yeah.
and trust me, I was the Dragon Lady and the Bride of Chucky in prison, because I didn't play games with them. They all knew I
Yeah.
could clear a dorm out for cleaning by myself, and a lot of men there could not do it. And it's like, I'm not going to back down, and they knew it. I did get assaulted a couple times, but you treat people a certain way, you get it back a lot. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get called names all day long, no matter what. And so it was rewarding to see that happen. And one other time in prison, they had this program where some people funded Christmas presents, and inmates got to sign up, and the ones that had children that wanted to participate, and then they put down the ages of the kids and what the kid might want, bike or doll or whatever. And I was assigned to do custody for that on a special day. And the parent brought the kid, or grandparent or whoever had custody of the little kid, and they got to sit down across from their daddy and open a present that their daddy bought for them that they thought. And I was crying. I mean, it was so sad, because some of these people, they said, it's the first time I've ever given a kid a gift. They're crying, I'm crying, you're trying not to, but
Yeah.
it was really, really hard. And those little
Yeah.
kids were so excited. And so it's like, man, don't go to jail and leave your children, because those little babies, they don't deserve it.
No. No.
That was a very heartwarming. And if that didn't melt your heart a little bit, you have an ice heart, because it was hard.
Yeah.
But that one little girl that got the bicycle, she rode that bicycle at that gate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they got to ride it.
That's nice. I mean, again, they're still humans. I get it. Some of them have done heinous crimes, and there is no rehabilitation for some. But I would think that the majority of them aren't those people, and the focus should be more on rehabilitating people as opposed
Yes.
to punching.
Yeah. They just haven't figured out how to really do it yet. I don't think.
Other countries do it better than we do, and that's true about a lot of different things. But Mr. Ed, Chattanooga Ed, would like to know what your favorite dessert is. And before you answer that, Ed, are you and Diego going live at 8:00? If you would let me know, either in the chat or text me or something, let me know I don't want to go over you guys just if we happen to go that long. So, what's your favorite dessert?
I would say probably like a peanut butter pie.
Peanut butter pie.
Yeah,
I
like one
don't
of
think I've
those.
ever had a peanut butter pie. I
Yeah,
mean, I like pie. I've never tried a pie I didn't love. I love pie, but I don't think I've ever had, excuse me, a peanut butter pie. And now I have to look that up real quick.
because it's like with chocolate in it, so it's sort of like a giant Reese cup, maybe.
Oh, okay.
You know, I'm a
Peanut butter
chocolate
pie.
girl.
That sounds delicious. That sounds delicious. Let's see. What if excuse me. Oh, I'm not going to ask her that one, Mike.
Go ahead. I'm
No,
not going to answer it.
well, it's about me, so we're trying not
Oh,
to.
oh.
Okay, thanks, Ed. Um, and Richard McCarthy would like to know how you stay so chill in those challenging situations. Is it just something that you've learned over the years, or you
Well,
know,
I'm a pull up yourself by the bootstraps kind of girl. I'm not going to let something beat me. Uh,
you
I might,
learned that way back when with the mother-in-law? That she was the one that touched that lesson way back then.
if I'm building something and it don't work and it don't work, I might tear that thing all to pieces and go get all new wood and start over. So, because it's like, damn it, if I want to build that stand this many inches, blah, 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 I'm going to build that daggone thing. All you got to do is be smarter than that tool.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I just won't give up. And trust
gotcha,
me, when I do, I'm done. So,
gotcha. And here's another one from Ed. If you would mix something with your macaroni and cheese, what would it be? I think
oh,
Ed's hungry.
probably bacon.
Oh yeah, there you go. My youngest son loves to cook, and he's a very good cook. He's only 19, um, but he's a really good cook, and he's made some just amazing macaroni and cheese with
Wow.
uh, like lobster in it and stuff, and just
Oh,
all
yeah.
kinds of different things. And Jimmy P just says, "I liked her before this interview. Now I love her. Big respect for this wonderful woman." That's from Jimmy
Oh,
P.
Jimmy P.
Jam Master
He's so
P.
much fun.
Um, Another one about dessert. What is Didi's brand of liver mush?
What?
What is Didi's? So that's from Chad Krotz and Hey Chad. To follow up Ed's question about dessert, what is Didi's brand of liver mush? Liver mush? I've never heard of liver mush. I'm learning all kinds of stuff.
I haven't
Scooter
either.
Pooter? Scooter Putin? What? Scooter Pooter? What is it? Scooter Putin?
Scooter Putin.
Scooter Putin. Now it sounds
Scooter
Russian.
Putin.
Now it sounds very Russian to me. Like I can see Putin on a little scooter,
Well, they did Boot Scoot Boogie.
Yeah.
This is Scooter Putin.
Scooter
You're still
Putin.
dancing, you're still dancing, but you might be doing a few other Skittles in there.
I'm looking up liver mush. Maybe it was liverwurst? Liver mush. Maybe it's a Carolina thing. I believe Chat's from there too. Chad is from there too. I
Oh, really?
did not find anything for liver mush. Maybe it's a typo then. Let's see.
I don't do liver, though, I can say that.
Degenerate said he was sold as an infant. I don't know if he's making a joke or if that's true. I did not know that. Although I feel like he did say he was adopted.
He was adopted, yeah. I
Who
don't know.
on the panels? Who on the panel's husband made her go out and get a brand new 125-gallon tank? Did your husband make you go get a 125-gallon tank?
No, he's not into the fish.
Somebody
these
did say that though. I remember seeing that.
The dojos got too big for their 55. And I've been, yeah, I did a big, when he's like gassing me off, because he doesn't really care about the fish like I do. And every once in a while he comes and looks at him and says, oh, that's nice, but he could care less.
Yeah.
But
same here. Yeah,
I just happened to say something, and he's like, okay. I think he had done something to piss me off just a little bit.
Oh,
And I think he was actually trying to butter me up.
okay.
I can't remember. He did. I mean, it wasn't bad, but like if I'm ticked off, I'm just not going to talk to you a whole lot.
Yeah.
And
Till you get
but he
over
said,
it, right?
oh, he made a comment, and so I didn't say nothing about it. So later on, he said, "Well, did you ever find out about that tank?" I said, "No, no." Yeah, I probably don't need it. And so he's like, well, why don't you go ahead and check it out? Why don't you go? Lo and behold, he drove a truck up there to pick it up for me.
Nice.
So
Gotcha.
you got to play your angles, man.
Yeah. Sounds like you got that down pat.
It's nice if you have a spouse that likes what you like that, you know.
Oh.
If you don't, you have to sneak in fish, like y'all were saying the other night. You got to sneak them in. Oh, didn't you know that one had babies? How come there's different colors?
Yeah. I just tell her. My wife is not interested at all, but I just tell her I got some. I bought some more fish.
Yeah, well, see, I don't hide that either. You know, it's like sometimes I have to figure out how I'm gonna work things so that he's got PTSD.
Oh.
And he doesn't like change.
Got it.
And so, and all this stress from this pandemic, he likes to talk to people, and he's been isolated, you know.
Oh.
And then you got a crying wife and a screaming kid for a year of school, and you know you can't leave because of school schedules, you know, and it's just been hard on him too. But you know, so I have to be real careful on how to bring things in that it doesn't upset him.
Gotcha.
You know,
Yeah.
because he can't help it. You know, he's former military. He's had a son murdered. His ex-wife was murdered. He's had two brothers murdered.
Jeez.
You know, he was given away at birth too. You know, so he's had a hard life, and I don't know how he can smile every day. But of course, he has me, so now he can smile. But I carry the weight for him. You know, he takes care of me, and I carry the stress burdens.
Gotcha.
Because I'm better at stress than he is. So.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think he did say something that hurt my feelings a little bit. And I think that's how it came to, like, well, why don't we go and check it out, you know?
Yeah. Priscilla from Swiss Aquatics said her son is super high spectrum, and it's not easy juggling life and kid at the same time. All power to you, Didi.
Well, thank you, Priscilla. Yep, you're right. You've got a hard road to go.
And, you know,
but it's worth it. It's worth it.
More of those same type of sentiments from Jeannie Campbell. She says, bless you, Deb, for taking her to your home. Just remember, you worked in prison. You can raise a 10-year-old.
I don't know. I could cuss no, I never cussed the inmate, but I could go home after 12 to 16 hours. You know what I mean? You can't do it here.
Let's see. I'm just looking for some questions, and I'm 10 minutes back in the chat. So.
Oh, but I keep going dark. It's almost like I'm on one of those criminal interviews, you know, where they hide their face.
Zen Ginger said that. She said every time I ask you a question, it goes dark, and it's like you're in witness protection. Somebody want to say hi?
She was going to show you something.
Have her come in. Well, I mean, that's up to you. If you don't.
You want to come in, see everybody on YouTube?
She's more than welcome, though.
Go around this way so you don't knock the computer over.
And what's her name?
This is Butterfly. It's her legal name.
That's right. You said that. Hi, Butterfly.
Can you say hi back?
Hi.
Oh, you're sweaty.
Yeah.
She's got a tattoo, too.
Nice.
she put on, she ripped my earbud out. She's rough now. Trying to sleep with her or something else, too. It's like having a bony bag of something beside you. All right, sure.
Hi, Butterfly.
Tell them bye.
Huh?
Tell them bye. Oh, she couldn't hear y'all. Tell them bye.
Bye.
We haven't had little kids around in a long time. You know, I don't have any grandkids. My oldest son he's 30. He's been with him and his girlfriend. They're not married, but they own a house together. My daughter is married, and they own a bedroom together on the other side of that wall.
Yeah.
And my youngest son, they're all in committed relationships. They've all been together with their significant others, but no grandkids yet. So Um,
Well, we have grandkids, but we're not able to be around them much because she's so high risk. And
oh,
they're in
gotcha.
daycares and around other people, so we hardly ever get to see them. And I have a set of twins that are young, and another one that's a year older than those two, and they probably don't even know me good enough to
Yeah.
stay. You
Oh,
know, but after this is over,
well, hopefully, well, let's not get into that. Um, all right. I'm looking for questions, people. So do the rat at Rico stand for me, if you would. Ricky, RB Animals said, what is your favorite movie?
oh well, let me think about that. Of all times,
Yeah.
um, I would probably have to go with Gone with the Wind.
Really? That,
Yeah,
yeah.
I like the Civil War
It is a
stuff,
classic.
and she was just so drawn out with her son. But it, it was something that I always watched
Yeah, I don't
whenever
even
it
have
came
enough.
on.
I
Haven't
was
seen
trying
it in
to
a long time.
I was trying to pull my ears out to look like Rhett. What's his name, Rhett? What was his?
Rhett
What was?
Butler, Rhett Butler, Clark
Yeah,
Gable.
Clark. That was his name
It's
in the show,
Franklin, my
though.
dear. Yeah, Franklin, my
Yeah,
dear. I don't give a damn.
yeah.
But
He
that
had that sort of.
and Jaws.
Oh, those are sort of extremes there. Jaws and
Yeah,
Gone with the Wind.
yeah. Jaws.
So you like
Back
it?
in the day when Jaws came out, it looked so real. It
Sure.
doesn't look real now,
No,
but it did back
it
then.
did. Yep, yep. It
Yeah.
definitely did. Well, you seem to like a lot of destruction in your movies. I mean, the whole place burned down and Gone with the Wind, and a whole bunch of people died, and boats were eaten. You like a lot of
Yeah, but
destruction.
but
I
there
think.
was that property, there was that land, and I understand, the land thing,
Yeah,
hanging on to the property,
yeah.
the dirt, and my dirted tanks was part of my inheritance because I got the dirt from my family farm.
Oh,
So,
really? Did you
yeah,
really? That's cool.
yeah.
That's
Now
very cool.
I gave my part of the farm to my brother,
Yeah,
but that's where the tobacco was at once upon a time.
that is really cool. I love that.
But I do understand that, and growing up at the water, I guess Jaws with all that pretty blue water.
Yeah. Even though it was up north, it still felt like it was close to you.
Yeah.
Um,
So
I'm sorry. I'm trying to scroll back up here, and here we go.
it's fine.
It jumped on me. Um, Liver mush is like scrapple. I've
I don't
never
know what
heard of
scrapple is.
scrapples. It's like spam, sort of,
Oh,
sort of. Scrapple's
that's not
different than
that's not
spam.
my kind of thing.
I think it's thinner, but it's still the same thing.
I
Um,
don't like spam. My husband does, but I don't care for it.
all right, we got the favorite movie. Okay, so that's a whap. Oh no, Matt. Okay, all right, here we go. Now I'm back. And J Rock likes to know if you collect anything, or you're into any kind of collecting. Let's see. He says, does Deb collect anything or have anything she enjoys to collect?
A long time ago, I collected hummingbirds, and now I just hang a feeder out and let them come and eat.
Gotcha.
But
Hummingbirds, like just like decorations with hummingbirds on them and stuff.
yeah, I used to have all those little crystal things
Oh,
and all
gotcha. Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
But when I was on my own, I started a housekeeping thing so I could make extra money cleaning homes and picking up all these little stupid photos and knacks and all that stuff. I don't want any anymore. So
Gotcha.
I don't have collections. If they are here, they're packed away,
Yeah,
and eventually I give them away.
yeah,
So it's like, and maybe at a certain age, you realize it's just little stuff, because it doesn't mean anything. It's something you've drug around for 40 years, and all of a
yep,
sudden you don't really care about it.
yep,
I've got hundreds of CDs, and I never even pull them out because you can just, MP3 on their phone, whatever.
yeah.
So,
I'm at
that
that
kind of
point
stuff is
now.
gone.
I have so much stuff. This room is just packed. I've got filing cabinets and drawers and stuff all over, and my wife hates it. She's really going through and getting rid of a lot of stuff, and I'm just not going to look, because if it's already been a year and I haven't seen it, I won't miss it. So I'm just letting her do whatever She gets rid of stuff. She knows if it's got my Chicago Bears on it to keep it, but other than that, she gets rid of everything.
Well, I do have a shed outside that I had a sewing room, but I had to use that for this classroom. So I packed up I've got embroidery machines and stuff that I was just starting to learn to do. And I've always sewn throughout the years, clothes and stuff. But I put that, my husband gave me a shed. So I've set me up a place to do that this year. And he bought himself a different shed. So he has a man cave because he gave me the man cave, which is now the finned in.
Yeah.
And then we have a community shed that has all of our junk that I came from my house and his house, and we still have to go through because the baby's mama died. We moved over here. We've remodeled the whole house. We're down to one bathroom left, and we've redone this whole house in like 2 years.
Wow.
So, there's still a lot of junk. And in fact, we were just talking about, I have a stereo out there, and there's like a Pioneer or something that's like, I don't even want it for my shed anymore. Let's just give it away.
Yeah.
And he's got a friend that's got a mechanic garage, and he said, I'll give it to him. He can use it over there. I said, fine. So. And
you know what? I like that part of it too, is giving that stuff away. I don't want to sell it. I can't be bothered to sell it. I don't want to have a yard sale.
I don't sell nothing. I gave the car away. It's like, we had a car that I used for my carpooling when I worked at the prison. And then when I didn't work, it became the German Shepherd's car to go back and forth to the vet. And then, because that's the only thing we could get him up in.
Oh, gotcha.
His hips and all went bad, and it was lower to the ground. So when he died, it's like I gave the car to the guy that owns the mechanic stuff. He can either sell it off or crunch it up. I don't care, Yeah, we could have sold it. Somebody even asked about it, but I might have made $600-700 and said, no, just you can have it and you do what you want to with it.
Yeah.
So, and at one time he was talking about giving it to the what is that, ladies shelter, women's shelter, somebody from there. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just like somebody else can use it. I like giving stuff to people that really, first of all, going to appreciate it. If somebody's like, oh, yeah, I guess I could use it. No, I don't want to give it to you. I want somebody to go, wow, cool. Yeah, I can use that, and just almost like a present,
Well, it's kind of nice if it's something you want. Somebody's got it's like, oh, yeah, I'll take it. I had a cousin that ended up separating from her boyfriend after 15 years. And she had a yard sale to make her some money because she didn't have a way to make money yet. So I carried up 2 or 3 truckloads of receivers and stereos and all that. And she sold it. I said, I don't care what you get for it. It don't matter if it costs $200. If you can get 5 for it, don't worry about trying to get like a value. Just put $5 in your pocket. And she did. She had yard sales for a couple of weeks at her sister's house, and she got her some money up to get started.
Yeah, got her through.
Yeah.
Knight Rider would like to know if there's any bucket list fish. Is there any fish right now that you really, really want to have that you can't have or don't have?
Well, I've got one that he won't sell them. And that's Jay Oliver, and those Pariba.
Yes.
Angelfish.
Yep, he's not ready yet. I know you're high on that list, though, aren't you? You're very high.
Well, I don't know because I keep sliding in digs every time he shows up on the stream. Like, don't forget me.
Yeah. But, I think he said,
and I've got a tank for them. I've got a tank for them.
Either you said or he said that you're number 1 on the list. I remember that, and I don't remember who it was, but I do remember that being said.
Well, if I said it, I hope he takes me up on it. But
I know a lot of people are dying to have those. So,
or either discus, which my water parameters are not for discus, and I guess it's something I could learn to finagle, but I'm not there yet.
Gotcha.
I thought I was going to be able to have discus when I got this 55, and I didn't even know about all these parameters. I thought you could buy a fish and stick it in there, So,
yeah.
But that's the only 2 that I know of. It's like I really, really want, and I only want those angels.
Yeah,
I don't want any other angel.
Yeah. Specific.
Nope. If I can't have them, I don't want any.
Ricky'd like to know if you've ever been to the prison in Sanford.
If I knew the name of it, if it's a state prison, I probably have transferring inmates because I've been to several counties and transported, drop them off. But I cannot remember all of them.
And Posiwi, hey there.
Gotta go.
is asking if we have any dream fish. What would it be? And I think I'm assuming she said that to me, but I'm assuming that was for you when you did answer that. So it was the discus and those specific haribas or whatever they are
It's
from
PARIBA, I think.
yeah, something like that. All right. All right. Let's scroll down. And it's actually 8:00. So I don't know if anybody else goes right now. Diego's not going tonight. And there's Night Rider asking again, Dreamfish. So yeah, we did answer that. Let's see. I don't see any more questions, and I actually just hit the bottom of the chat, which was good because it's 8:00. So that's a good time to, if anybody has any other questions, drop them in real quick. But otherwise, I think we'll go and we'll go ahead and cut it off. 8:00. So we went an hour and a half. Thanks so much.
Stay in power.
The name of the prison is Sanford Correctional Center.
I know I have had to have been there at some point.
And Ricky's not too far from you, I believe, right? You guys are sort of close.
He's a couple of hours away from me, I think.
Okay.
South.
Right. Night Rider asks if you have a regular streaming time, and Deb does not. Didi does not. She does go on a lot of streams, but she doesn't. She doesn't have a regular streaming time at this point, at least.
No, I'll never have one, I'm sure.
No, nothing you're really interested in?
Not really. I mean, only if a bunch of people just wanted to talk instead of type.
Yeah.
You know, like Ames or whatever. Like she had a stream up so I could come and meet her, that kind of thing. But I would not want to have a stream and have an itinerary and all that kind of stuff. You know, it'd be just a bunch of people talking since you can't see each other person to person.
Yeah. And okay, I think we'll go ahead and cut off. Again, hi to everybody that came in. That was said hi.
Hi.
We didn't say hi to anybody, but I appreciate each and every one of you being here. At one point, I think there was like 64 people in to see you, Deb. So that was pretty good. Didi, I've always called you Deb. In my head, you're Deb. You've always been Deb. So it's.
I'm just changing the name in case if I ever get arrested, nobody will know it was me.
It's good to have that plan.
Yeah, a backup plan.
And again, she hasn't been arrested for prostitution yet.
Oh, did you hear on Danny's and Danikin's stream that Danny got a call, or she found out that her name had been used on a prostitution arrest. They used her name.
Oh no!
Of course, when she went down there, like, well, we know it wasn't you, but yet her name is out there.
No, I
haven't been arrested for prostitution. Yeah,
that's hilarious. No, I miss their streams all the time because they're on Sunday nights, and it's just a really bad time for me. I try to stop in and at least hit the like and stuff, but I always miss them, and they're so funny. So
I think when she was talking about getting her clearance, maybe for your flying, what's that new little star?
Yeah.
That, it comes up because I used to do those too, and anything that even sounds like your name, it comes up, if there's a whole bunch of, Didis, and you have to figure out which ones are and which ones aren't, so she has to go and explain that wasn't me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That would be bad.
That's, ridiculous that she is the one that has to, say it wasn't me. She shouldn't have to, prove her innocence,
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody. Thanks so much for coming in. Next week, speaking of Danny, that's great. I'm going to bring up the prostitution thing because Danny's going to be with us next Tuesday. So we'll definitely bring that up with Danny. So really looking forward to that one. And let's see, Thursday night, Ed and I. So Thursday night, we start off with Rocco and Third Coast, and then the Hot Mess Express, and then KG Tropicals, and then James and Ed, then Ed and James, and then Ed and me. So Thursday nights are a great streaming night.
Yes, they are.
And I have Chris Biggs coming up too at the end of the month. So we finally got a time. So if people aren't familiar with Chris Biggs, he's the Mad Aquarist, funny guy, very smart, keeps a lot of different types of things, fish, isopods, and all different kinds of spiders and reptiles and just all kinds of stuff. And Susan, hi Susan, I didn't see you there. And Susan comes in at 5 Eastern, but that's on Tuesday nights, right, Susan? No. What time, Susan? I thought you only streamed on Tuesday nights. Yeah, 5 Eastern. Oh, I thought you were. I don't know. I'm confused, Susan. You confused me just as I was going to close it all down. Now I'm going to leave and I'm going to be all confused. Thanks, Susan. Thanks. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, Deb. This was awesome. Thanks so much for coming up. I know you were a little. I don't know, leery if the word is, but little uncomfortable.
Apprehensive.
There we go. So hopefully, it was as much fun as you thought it would be.
It was a blast. I enjoyed it.
All right, everybody, take care, and we'll see you on the next one.